Solar Bears tonight play Game 6 of their series against Cincinnati. They fought to get this series back here, and tonight we'll need to win a Game 6 to force a Game 7 tomorrow. So hopefully a good crowd tonight. Tickets OrlandoSolarBearsHockey.com are coming out to the Amway Center. Vince Williams is their head coach. We always enjoy chatting with him. You two, first time in here. Isn't this furniture nice?
That's what I was saying.
I'm telling you, right?
In the green room.
Yeah.
But the nice leather couches in here.
Yeah. I'm telling you, back the truck up after the show, and we kind of scoot on out of here and stuff. All right. You got it back here, but now we got to win at home, Vince, okay? None of this dropping stuff at home here tonight, right?
Well, I mean, like I said, we talked to the guys. We earned the right to be here at this point right now for Game 6 and how we played on the road. I thought, the team got better as the series has gone on. I think, a little bit, sense of nervousness, I think, a little bit earlier on in the series. It was, like I said, it's a whole new experience for a lot of these guys. There's a lot of third, fourth year pros on this team that have never played a professional playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
And I put I look back in my career and I remember, as a rookie and, my first pro playoff game, it was a whole different animal. I was just, I thought I was ready and I really wasn't. I didn't really get settled in until we got to the second round, and then, you kind of, but that's where, I think we got caught a little bit on our heels. It wasn't that the first two games I thought we were not that great. We just were making mistakes or we weren't hard enough in certain areas, and you could see that. And we tightened up defensively, the last three games. Wednesday was 2-1, and then it was 2-0, and then 3-2. That's how you have to play against this team. You got to be really good defensively, staying above the puck and boxing out and doing all the little things here, and then capitalize on your chances when you can.
Overtime's sick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like they say. I learned from a coach years ago. He's always like the first 5 minutes of overtime is the most important. You get in the dressing room for 15 minutes, and you can't let your guard down for a second. And obviously there's puck luck too. And it was a great opportunity. It was a great play. With Jacob Seepis drawing a couple guys to him, and then Eric Byer. It was a big shot going in there, and so. It was big. It was big for the confidence of the group and the morality, and it was good. It was exciting because it's a tough building to play in. It's a good hockey team, and any way to keep alive here. Like I said, we've earned that right to be here for Game 6 from what we did the last few games.
Every series has a developing story. You've had 5 chapters of this. You wanted chapter 6 and 7, but what has been the story of the series? If you look back and say this is how it's gone.
Well, I mean, I thought that the first 2 games, it just seemed too easy. We were getting scored on so easy, and on the other end, for us to score, it seemed like everything we had, every goal that we scored, we had to really work for. Obviously we changed some things and some lineups and put some guys in that started to really help us here, and we've gone through our third goaltender in the series in 5 games too. So there's a lot of, when Gibson came in the day of. 2 flights and came in and was got things. Say, okay, let's see how this goes. But we knew that with the type.
What's that meeting like? Guy gets off a plane, and you've already made the decision he's playing.
I told him the night before.
Okay,
so I said you're going in. So no matter what.
What's that phone call like?
Well, I think he was. I thought for him, I said, you're a young kid. Sometimes being naive to a situation almost works in your favor.
Yeah.
But I think from his own personal development experience, it's a great opportunity for him to come in here and learn from this. It's only going to make him a better player, and mentally tougher. And, like I said, I thought after the first period, he settled in nice. And, and he was battling. He made a couple big saves there in the third, and it was like, he's going. He's going. Let's get everybody else going here. So, and it seemed like, after we scored that one goal, Sevy scored and we got better. And then once we got that second goal on the power play, it was like, we can do this. And then it just radiates through the bench, and then it becomes a whole different game.
Is trust here a different level of trust? We talked about this during the season a couple of times. Your roster is fluctuating, and it's one thing. Teams playing in the NHL right now, that's a group that's been together. You have an occasional late addition. It's easy to trust somebody you've played 90 games with. You're asking guys to trust someone they just met.
Yeah, and that's been the bit of the going into the season, we have to put a playoff roster together. There's certain guys that had really good seasons for us, but unfortunately we can't keep everybody or play everyone. So you have to kind of go with what you feel is going to be the best lineup that's going to help you get to win a championship. And, and obviously they're tough because you can have a guy that's been with us for 4 or 5 months that just get left off. And, and then if that's someone's roommate, that's someone's, road buddy, that's somebody's, guy that he likes to, golf with or whatever. And, and having guys trust and buy into all the decisions that are entailed is something that, you have to have confidence in, and, everything's thought out. I mean, there's not just a rash decision that's made. I mean, there's a reason and purpose behind it. And, so, believing in each other and the guys that are in the room that are going to do the job, night in and night out. And sometimes it's, it might not be their best game, or it might not be their best shift, but it's, being everybody buying into it and trying to trust each other and trust the system and play that way, because something got you to this point, and that's what you have to realize. And you look back at experiences throughout the season of what got us here, how were we successful doing it, and what can we learn from it? Like, and we lost 3 in a row against a good hockey team, but we only lost 3 in a row twice all year, and we responded well. We never lost 4 in a row. So going into that game Friday, it was like, hey, we've been here. This never happened to us. We've lost 3 in a row, and we've come back and played very good hockey after that. And that's only happened twice. So get it out of your head that we've never lost 4 in a row all season long. And that kind of gives guys a little bit of, maybe you're right. Yeah, you start looking at history and experiences that help get you through these times that you're going through.
Do you believe that a previous game has an effect on next game? I mean, you can look at it many ways. You lost 3, and then you beat them twice, and now suddenly, psychologically, what do they think? Or do you just say, you know what, that's good for media, it's good for stuff to fill days, but each game is independent?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't hope and wish for anything, because anything can happen, and for us, we have to worry about how we have to play for, again, one game. Like we took Friday, one game. Saturday, one game. Today's one game. And play that, be unstoppable in everything that you do, and how you play with a sense of urgency that we have to. We're still fighting for our lives.
Mm-hmm. Are you a big pregame speech guy?
No, I think guys at this point, we understand what's at stake.
A chalkboard and break it.
That's normally after a period.
Yeah.
But no, I think you have to this level to be even keel, and humility is a big thing, because I mean you can't get too high or too low. And never at one point did we feel that, that we were ever going to give up anyway. And like I said, I mean, you have to go into tonight's, and everybody knows what's at stake, and everyone reads what, the paper and all these other things. I mean, that stuff you can't control in social media and stuff. So we have to just focus on what we need to do to be successful for 60 minutes, to be able to be, our best and against a good hockey team. And, and we've had it's good that we're at home, and, it's our fans can give us an extra boost here. But like I said, everyone knows what's at stake, and we have to just stay the course and be patient and get better as the game, goes on. And it's important for us to have a big start.
You guaranteeing a win? Come on, Vince. Come on.
I don't do any of that stuff.
I'll let you take the couch home if you do. No?
I'll grab the soap dish over there.
Yeah.
And a nice garbage can, too.
How many Twitter followers do you think Tansky has?
I don't know.
Come on, guess.
I'm not a social media guy.
Come on, guess.
Probably has a lot, though.
You think so?
People like him. So.
Yeah? What should we ask him?
How many?
No, I mean, what should we ask him?
Ask him if he's ready to go tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Is he a good guy on the road?
He's a good kid.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's a good kid. He works hard, and he's, and I think he's done a good job, getting in the lineup. I know it was tough for him a little bit towards late in the season, but like I said, he's put himself in a position for us to keep him in, which is what you want out of a pro athlete.
Even though you said that you think the Flyers will win tonight, I'm rooting for you tonight here at home. So get a Game 7, and thanks for coming by,
All right,
Vince.
thank you very much.